We started with Orbit versus SK, and surprisingly to us, Orbit took the victory. And whilst that match was going on, Dignitas were facing off against Epsilon, and Dignitas came out on top. And so now we will get to see Dignitas versus Orbit, a match that I don't think anyone really predicted. It's going to be quite a fun match. It's going to be exciting. This is, because considering what we've just seen from Orbit, it could be quite close.
I mean, well, it was in the realm of opportunities for me, at least, that this matchup could be happening in the winner side of things. So, Orbit obviously being the better of the two against SK in this early battle. These teams, obviously, they've already faced each other a couple months back in Copenhagen Games. A tournament that Dignitas was supposed to be the heavy favorites, where they were the heavy favorites. We all expected them to win it. They bombed out against then eFrag, now Orbit, in a best-of-3 series. I think it was the quarterfinals in a 2-1 fashion. So, I mean, there's a little bit of history here, a revenge for Dignitas maybe in the works, but in a best-of-1, and we've already seen how well Orbit's been playing. And obviously, we didn't get to see Dignitas play against Epsilon, but judging from the scoreline, 16-11 sounds quite a little bit too close for comfort.
I mean, let's just talk about predictions. Just start off with the predictions for this game and maybe bring in what we do know about what happened in the other match. Like, for instance, you mentioned the score. Dignitas versus Epsilon was a closer game than what we saw from SK and Orbit. And so maybe, we can't exactly use chain logic, but it goes to show that maybe right now Epsilon are playing better than SK. And in that sense...
Well, between these two teams, I guess get coup board for both of them. Maybe it's the fact that they share similarities in their map pool. For Dignitas, they haven't really played Dust 2 or Train on LAN in the past 3 months or so. At the same time, though, that's not going to be heavy. I don't think it's going to do a lot of favors to Dignitas against eFrag, because those are not maps that are ones that eFrag plays all too much either. But they do like both the Mirage, Cache, Overpass, Cobblestone. Those are the maps that both teams are really confident on. And so in terms of that, I feel like this should be a close matchup.
I do feel like we could see Cobblestone again, actually. Because Dignitas are very comfortable, as Atu just said, on Cobblestone. One of the best teams in the world at Cobblestone at one point, not too long ago. If you go back to like Leipzig, GEC, they were right up there with some of the best. So I definitely think we could see Cobblestone. Plus, Dignitas were playing at the same time. They wouldn't be able to watch that game. They wouldn't have seen how wrecked SK got. So they may fall into the trap of going for Cobblestone. I think it would be a great game if we did. Then again, I said the same thing before, didn't I?
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. But they might have gone away, Dignitas, and taken a look at the score, taken a look at the map. Maybe they have people watching the game when they're not watching. I doubt that they will be going into it completely unaware, and especially knowing that Orbit are not competition to be looked past. And so, how prepared do you think these guys are for this match in general?
I mean, for Dignitas' point of view, obviously, you do imagine that Orbit is a team that they could have to be looking out for, a team that is always bubbling under, just haven't made the final push like we've been, emphasizing for the first part of this broadcast. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure Dignitas is ready for Orbit, but we have the lineup for Orbit: Bubble, Punisher, Spy Leader, Victor, and NKL. And from judging from the previous match, I think Bubble and KL especially feel like they're going to be the two linchpin guys for this team.
Definitely. Bubble finished 27 for 9. He was
absolutely
a man mountain. So certainly the guy you're looking out for, highest rated player as well. No huge surprises there. Dream was the other guy that you'd normally be watching for. Punisher did a solid job though. It wasn't the case that he came in and bottled it. He actually landed some key kills. He managed to get a lot of impact frags. So they're looking pretty good right now. But again, SK on the other side of the coin just didn't
look good. There was no cohesion. And
right.
Well, if there was one player right now going into this matchup against Dignitas, who is it? Is it going to be Bubble again to really come out to make sure that...
It's going to be Bubble. It's going to be Victor as well. Yep. I mean, he's one of the guys that really has been doing a lot of work along Bubble. So those are the two guys for me to be looking out for from the Orbit side of things.
Yeah, well, looking at the other team, Dignitas, who are the guys on that team that we should be looking out for? And we should be able to see them on screen as well.
Kirby. Right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair assessment. Obviously, Config as well. He's, along with, I think, with Magic Spoy from SK, those are two young guns, really up-and-rising players. What is great about Danish Counter-Strike is they have a lot of these young talents just popping left and right, which is, kind of amazing, especially, for someone that's from Finland, a neighboring country, and don't really get all too much of that. Anyway, let's go through the Dignitas lineup. Rubino, Tensky, Kierbu, MSL, and Config. A player I want to point out as well is Rubino. the Norwegian in this Danish mixture, and he's a really reliable kind of a rifler. Yeah, seems like one of those kind of glue players in a team that every single team really needs. A calm player, always gets that one frag he has to have, and every now and again doesn't necessarily have the star performances every day in and out, but every now and again he also can rise to the occasion.
He's the adhesive, I think, for Dignitas.
He brings them together, you mean?
An unsung hero in a lot of respects. He's not going to be landing the highlight reel-worthy plays. He's not going to be landing the consistent 30s, but he's going to be chugging along 15, 20 frags here and there. He get a lot of impact kills. I think he is the glue that holds together the lineup, as you just mentioned, so definitely a player to watch out for as well.
Yeah, I agree. I guess he's the player that we're going to highlight on that team, because he has that consistency. He can have great performances, but he very rarely does absolutely terribly. And he has that consistency to how he performs and how many frags that he's going to bring. And you can kind of rely on him to hold a site or push a site relatively consistently.
Yeah, for me, this team really rises or just basically dies is with Kjærby. He's the guy with so much talent, and he's obviously really young, so I think he's 19 right now, and so already feels like he's a bit of a veteran, to be honest with you. He's been around for quite a while. I remember the first time I got to play him was a couple of years back at an assembly tournament where he was playing with a mixed team, and already he was making a great impression of himself, but having a little bit of a adjustment period for the past year and a half, I guess, to the big leagues, but definitely has the potential. I think he's going to be the guy for Dignitas to make the push to the next level.
Whilst the veto is going on screen, can we quickly touch upon the Danish scene in general? Are there chances that there could be some shuffles coming up, considering the way players are doing at the moment, recent form, and that there are these star players, say for instance AZ on FaZe, Kjærby on Dignitas, and then all of the players on Astralis? Could there be some mixtures at some point? I'm aware that people have been starting to talk about it because of what's recently been happening with Astralis.
Right. I wouldn't put it out of the question, for sure, but I think that each team has a little while longer before they have to start looking at that ultimate, decision.
Yeah, problem is really obviously everyone's contracted to teams and whatnot, but I mean, Astralis has been struggling recently, so you'd expect that is something there's the great, like I just said, the greatness about Danish Counter-Strike is just the depth of pool they have right now with the players. But should be maybe look at the veto.
Yeah,
right
let's
now,
look at the veto. No, I don't want to overemphasize the point. I
Yes.
just wanted to bring up quickly. But we've got the veto no, please take it.
The veto right now makes a lot of sense. Obviously, Dignitas taking off Cash, which is a strength of Orbit, so they want to take that out the pool. Also, Dust to a map, like I said, they haven't played on land in the past 3 months, so also makes a lot of sense. Orbit taking out Train. Dignitas doesn't really play too much, but it's not one of their strengths either. And Overpass.
This is going to become
the
Cobble.
second, the second
Cobble.
one out being Overpass also makes sense since it's a map that Dignitas like to play. So it coming down to Mirage and Cobblestone makes perfect sense. Both teams are really competent. Both teams love the maps. So it doesn't really matter, to be honest with you, if it's going to be Mirage or Cobblestone. I think it's going to be super competitive.
There we go. You guys
and
predicted
it's
it
Cobblestone.
Makes sense. Both teams are very comfortable on this. Of course, if after just wrecking SK on Cobblestone map, they're strong on Orbit, want to go straight back to this. Why the hell not?
Yeah. I think, though, that this, in my opinion, favours Dignitas. I feel Dignitas overall are the better team, and their performances, like we've established on Cobblestone, are pretty good. And I'm keeping in my mind that SK were not doing much on Cobblestone. They didn't have much to offer, and that maybe, of course, Orbit did perform well, and they were executing well, and all of that. But SK weren't doing much in sort of defense or attack.
I guess
Dignitas for me.
Fun, what is fun to see here is this is one of the 4 maps that these two teams share, which Mirage, Overpass, Cash, and Cobblestone. This is the one map they didn't play a Copenhagen game, so we don't really have a lot of context in that sense between the two teams online, how it's going to be. But judging from what we saw, obviously, I think, Pala, you're right. SK didn't really set the bar too high there. So Orbit really did look really good at that point. But Dignitas, I think, they're the more prominent team. They have the better structure. They have the really good pieces towards that B-bomb side, way better than what SK was able to throw at Orbit. So I think this is where their B defense for Orbit is really going to be tested.
Completely agree. I would also throw into the mix that I'm going to go with Dignitas as well. I think they're one of my dark horses. Actually, I favour them to get through to the finals.
At this point, are they even a dark horse? Because I would consider them a favourite in a way.
Well, the reason I'm saying that is because they've been so lackluster recently and because they've had such inconsistency issues. Kirby is very inconsistent right now. You go back a couple months, he was an absolute god. Was just landing clutches all over the place. So I'm going to say Dignitas will win this, but Orbit could definitely take them down here. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, the downfall of Dignitas so far has to be the fact that whenever they're favored in a matchup, whenever they're favored in a tournament, they just seem to crumble. And in the other side of the spectrum, you have Orbit. You know, they know themselves how good they are. You know, they know they could be competitive in this kind of a, I guess tier 2 tournament. So definitely, it's not going to be an easy for Dignitas. I think it's going to be really close when it may come down all 30 rounds.
Maybe it will be a case of Orbit bursting the bubble of Dignitas, or Dignitas saying, Kia, bye-bye to Orbit.
You've been thinking about that for a long time.
I had it in my head for the last minute, got it out there. Yeah, and that was quite a punishing joke.
Oh,
I'm done.
Jeez.
Can I just go?
Just leave.
Just bring some flavour, bring some...
There we go. Yep.
It's debatable if it was a good flavour or bad flavour, but just bring some flavour.
A matter of taste, obviously. Depends on what you like.
Yeah, all right. Well, we're waiting for that first game to start off, and it's definitely going to be an interesting one. Should we maybe touch a bit upon the other match that's going on at the same time, which won't be on the stream, which is, of course, the losers match between Epsilon and SK. How do you think that one is going to go? For me, it's SK.
Well, I mean, that's the obvious choice, really. We don't have all too much context, especially in a LAN environment from Epsilon.
Yeah.
But SK definitely needs to wake up, considering the scoreline Epsilon had against Dignitas 16-11. That's not too shabby. We don't know how the pistol rounds went. Obviously, if you win both, let's say if Epsilon won both pistol rounds, 11 is not that impressive in the end of the day. But still, just judging purely from the scoreline, Epsilon made it competitive. On the other hand, SK seemed a little bit lackluster. If they can, be better at their executes and just be more cohesive when it comes to being a team, as I still feel they are the more structured of the two and they should come out on top.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. The only thing is, we also didn't see how Epsilon played in the previous game, so it's difficult to know if they had 5 or 6 clutches that just didn't go their way, because sometimes 16-11 is a deceptive scoreline.
Yep.
So
both ways.
Exactly. It's very difficult to call, but yeah, on paper, surely SK are favourites to take that game.
Okay, well, going back to the match that we are about to see, 60 seconds predictions for Dignitas versus Orbit.
I mean, you just have to favor, like we said, the Dignitas has to be the one that is favored, but it's definitely not going to be easy for them. Because Orbit, we obviously saw them, they're on the first match against SK. They can throw some nice aggression on the CT side, have the nice little structure into pull flashing into the B long, trying to get a cheeky play before the Chiefs get to execute, play more aggressively on the towards the middle. So I think it's also going to come down to how well Dignitas is aware of how Orbit plays and how they adjust themselves, because that's been one of their issues. They're not really great at adjusting themselves.
One of SK's biggest Achilles heels was a lack of avenging frags. Dignitas are much better at that, so I feel they'll shut down Bubble before he can go massive. I'm going to go Dignitas as well.
Okay, I'm going to go Dignitas as well, so that'll be 3 Dignitas votes from us at the desk, and I think we are ready to get into the game. We had the knife round going on. I'm pretty certain that we are good to go. Yes, we are good to go. We're going to head into that first game. My friends here are going to cast away.
All right, guys, it's going to be the second game of the day, and never mind that. Hello.
Wrecked.
Wrecked, of course. I thought we were just going straight into it.
Bye, Pala.
I guess we just don't.
Oh, okay.
We're just going to be throwing Pala out the window. And he's coming in now and just making things awkward. Why not?
Well, apparently we aren't ready to go to the game. I'm going to get some information on that.
Oh.
I was told in my ear that we were ready, but then I guess there was a last second. We're live. We're live. It's casted.
I love this. Just Pala being a sound in your ears while we're just watching it to our right, thinking what's going on. But Dignitas versus Orbit coming up here, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be the second Cobblestone of the day, and I think it's going to be a little bit more competitive than the first one.
Definitely agree. Yeah, I can't see this being like a 16-5 wreckage again, or 16-6, whatever it ended up being. It's going to be a lot closer. For me, the 2 key people to watch here are Bubble and Kirby. Whoever performs better, I think, will carry their team to victory.
Yeah, I mean, I guess from Dignitas' point of view, if you look at the big picture for them, it's not good thing for them is the fact that it's not so much about just individual performances, but instead it's going to be about as a team, the structure they can have and the executes they do on their T side are just going to be, I think, a lot more harder for Orbit to handle than what SK was able to pull off.
Completely agreed. And again, it comes back to the avenging frags.
Yeah.
We saw Modi a bunch of times running out of B platform on the T side. He'll get a kill for himself, but then after that, there's no one following up. There's no one leading the charge afterwards. So I think, again, Dignitas are a much more solid team when it comes to that. You're looking for Rubino to be, again, that glue that just keeps together his side.
And when you're looking at Orbit, it's, again, the first thing that comes to mind is the force buying. The shenanigans of force buying are always happening when it comes to these Bulgarian guys. But the thing is that they make it work every now and again, but thing is, when it doesn't work, it can totally wreck their game.
Right, because the previous game, Pala touched on this as well on the desk, in round 4, they force bought. If they lose that, the whole dynamic of the map could have changed.
Now, we're alive in the pistol round. It seems like Orbit's going to be starting on the T side with just one set of nades. That's going to be a grade 8 HG grenade and a smoke for NKL. Everyone else just armoring it up, and things are starting quite slow. Now, it seems like a smoke has been thrown already out for NKL. I think they're isolating that side all, waiting for aggressiveness from the CTs, but they're not fighting anything really. And that's all pretty much that's happening so far.
Yeah, a little bit of utility picked up for both sides, but here comes Tensky going for that peek. Very nearly lands himself some damage. Instead, though, Dignitas do hold on firm. And with MSL watching up from the doors, a bit of information has been gathered. That being said, a minute left in the time, Natu, so that early information is all well and good, but doesn't really tell them a great deal.
What's interesting is they only had one smoke, and they already spent that, just taking over the side hull, basically. So what that means that right now, they're not going to be able to cover any of the crucial choke points when they're actually executing the bomb site, making it that much harder to actually get to the bomb site. But here comes that ace split. Punisher getting the first kill on the Caribou and putting a lot of pressure on the MSL, who's basically in a sandwich right now, going down, taken down by Victor.
Big opening plays from Orbit, 30 seconds. Punisher holding the off angle, lands the headshot onto Config. Another key member for Dignitas goes down without a fight. Tensky, meanwhile, will at least put a bullet to the face of Orbit. That grenade does some serious damage, but they're going to have to start to push their way onto the site. No more flashes, no more utility to use. It's going to have to be raw entry fragging power from the CTs to get back onto the site. Spiley with the Glock puts down Rubino with ease, and a second frag for him. Orbit good for yet another pistol.
That was the one strat that was going to work without a smoke, really. Having that connector to a split coming up, and they get the entry kills. They got Caribou, got MSL right away, make it a quick 5-on-3 situation, eventually becoming a 4-on-2 after plant situation, and Orbit picking up that pistol round. Now, the question is, how is Dignitas going to answer this? They have partially force bought into Caribou and Config. Both have armors. They have a CZ and a Deagle to their name. And the other ones I have upgraded too. The MSL taking a really aggressive stance, but with that smoke coming in, decides to fall back, and it's a heavy stack towards the B bomb site from the Dignitas guys.
One of that stack, though, is starting to move his way. I think that's Config into the doors. MSL, meanwhile, is taking a pounding down to just 6 health. And will be moving his way into long. Kirby, in the meanwhile, gets smoked off to him. And Config have to start to push their way across, but MSL with the very low HP lands the headshot with the Deagle. He's going to have to back on off as Orbit aggress and pick themselves up 3 kills. And the bomb has gone down, leaving Kirby with it all to do, and he's just going to try and save the CZ and Kevlar. Maybe get an exit frag if he's lucky.
Exactly, that's the best he can hope for right now. Could be a chilling here in drop zone, and Orbit making the right choice of pushing that A side. A little bit risky, I would say, just running out there, not having a set piece. What I've seen, in my opinion at least, the best teams right now playing anti-ecos really do set pieces against potential force buys. Even if they run into a bomb site that has majority of the defending CTs, you still make it work with correct smoke, Molotov, and flash placement. But this time around, Orbit just plowing into that bomb site and just only losing one member. Obviously a success for them. Caribou is going to be saving that CZ and armor in the following round.
You sure will. That gives them something to work with going through into round number 3, but the rest of the team will be tapping out, you have to assume. Not going for a second force buy, that would almost be suicide for the CTs.
Indeed it would be, because they need a lot of utility here on the CT side of Cobblestone, especially players that play that B bomb side. Having all the utility possible is just that much more important, and They will be just saving into. They have some P250s, but that's all they have.
Yep, 3 P250s picked up. Config just with the USP, and it should be a farming frenzy from Victor, who goes in for 2 kills with the Mac-10. Meanwhile, the other Mac-10 in the hands of Bubble, which we did see against SK as well. The similar composition of weaponry is coming very well indeed, and there's the knife onto Config. It's shanked down, that's money in the bank.
Yeah.
MSL with it all to do. Bomb planted, chances slim to none, and he will get a headshot landed on his face.
Yeah, that was clean 2 anti-ecos there for the Bulgarian guys, and here we go. I'm going to be going into the first weapon round, and I think one of the things that interests me right now, if we're going to be seeing an AWP in play, because we didn't really see any of that in the first Cobblestone game, but nope, no AWPs. I guess they're banned maybe, I don't know.
Well, Orb are a team that don't really use the AWP that much.
That is
at the best of times, but Dignitas, a team that do like to run with it from time to time. Although they don't necessarily have like a star AWP themselves, so
no.
I guess this could be a reoccurring theme as we go through to the nitty-gritty stages of Cobblestone.
That's a thing that you expect from Orbit, though. Bubble does like to opt to go off with that AWP. So far, just AKs and Galil in play, and things are starting off slow. So you can see Dignitas with MSL and his companion there. Wasn't sure who it was there. He's there just waiting. Tensky does, just waiting for the right moment, and Orbit has decided to smoke off those stairs. So they have no idea those 2 seats are there. The pop flash comes in. They're just going to be running in, getting the first, getting the second kill. Well, that's going to be a quick 5-on-3, just favoring the CTs.
And these are plays that we didn't see SK able to execute on their CT side, and sometimes aggression is the best form of defense, especially on Cobblestone. As you can see instantly, that just rips out the heart of this Orbit attack. Only 3 players remain, and just a couple of smokes to play with. It's going to be a rough ask for them to get onto the site.
It's going to be very tough indeed, and that I think the right thing that Dignitas did there was wait for the right moment to do that push, but here comes the drop zone push from Orbit. They're taking it over, really passive flame of Dignitas. I think that's quite smart considering the situation right now, but NKL is going to come in, get the kill before it gets traded away, and now just Punisher alive here. Be a platform for CTs to play against. Not able to even land that one shot on the Rubino. Who goes down really low on HP, but the frag doesn't happen. Dignitas on the board, 1-3.
Yeah, keeping 4 players alive as well, I believe, so that's fantastic for their economy. Now, T's will be desperate to cause the nightmare to come to a reality and break Dignitas' economy, but AK's picked up again, and there was the option as well for an AWP. NKL had more than enough for an AWP to drop across.
Yeah, seems like it's a choice from Orbit really not to go for the AWP, instead just keep all AKs for everyone. And seems like another push towards the B-bomb site waiting to happen. One being on the B-long, and then just drop zone push is coming in.
Oh, this could bait the terrorists as well. They may assume that no one's in the alcove, but meanwhile, it doesn't even matter, because Kirby with 2 kills, and there we go. They get baited. Bubble assume no one was there. Meanwhile, it's on Spy Leader. Bomb just ahead of him, but he's got CTs left, right, and center. He'll go down, and there will be no nightmare today for Dignitas. 2 rounds in a row.
Yeah, great dynamic there from Rubino and Caribou, just shutting down that push to drop room, getting the more important kills. That's the thing, if you get the entry when you go down the drop zone, that's when it becomes really iffy for the B defenders. Caribou and Rubino getting those kills, and also Config chiming in, playing on that B plateau, made things worse for Orbit. And, well, from the looks of things, Orbit decides to buy into this, which is obviously not very surprising considering their way of playing this game.
Absolutely, and you better believe Dignitas will know this as well. Against a lot of teams, this is kind of that iffy situation where they half buy with the Tech 9 armors and then get the full AKs next round. Against Orbit, you can pretty much guarantee it's going to be a force.
Yeah, right now what they're banking for Orbit right now is waiting for Dignitas to be aggressive, which Dignitas kind of is right now. The side hall, MSL and Tensky here, just waiting for the situation. Oh, Tensky is going to be spamming through the smoke, but it's MSL getting the first kill and making one of the T's really slow. That's Victor, but NKL managing to get the trade kill to make it a 4-on-4.
It's a pretty key moment in the round. You got to feel if Bubble can get the better of Rubino, who's down in drop zone, this opens up things nicely for Orbit. Bomb is still lurking over on the A side, but a very easy wraparound should the Bulgarians want it. And look at Bubble, he's got so much real estate. He can come up behind Dignitas, who have no eyes on this, and they're going to have no idea it's about to come up. Can he line them up and knock them down? He sees the players. This is vital information, and he lands the headshot, not just on one, but now he's looking for a second as well. This forces out the player on A long to push down, and that's into the embracing arms of NKL. And that's all off the back of Bubble's push through connector side.
Great situational awareness there from Bubble, definitely getting down drop, having the connector and getting that crucial kill, and then also having those two teammates in side hall to sandwich the remaining, I think it was Caribou, they're in the side hall. So, just a solid job there. It's going to be conflict left in a 1-on-4.
This is why drop is such a key area of Cobblestone, just for those kind of plays, not just to burst out onto B, but also wrapping yourself round onto the A side. Dignitas are going to concede this. The answer has already been made. The next question, though, can Config save this AK? It's looking likely. There's not a lot of time left on that bomb, and no one's close to him. This could be pretty key, him taking the AK through into the next round. So Orbit starting solid on their T side once again.
Yep, indeed they have, and I think Dignitas should have the economy to buy into this round, considering I think they have 4 left in that previous round they won. Well, they should be all right coming into this one, but like you said, solid start from Orbit. We're going to be sitting at 4-2, and just, well, basically that previous round came off of Bubble's situational awareness, managing to make his way down drop into connector, backstabbing those clueless CTs on that A bomb site.
See the importance of saving the previous AK as well. Now it affords Dignitas a full healthy buy-up, as opposed to someone on a pistol or maybe a FAMAS instead. And an AWP. MSL, finally. We'll get the first AWP of play at DreamHack Tours. Actually, that's not necessarily true. I don't know how the other games have been going, but at least what we've been casting. Meanwhile, NKL has none of this AWP business in his mind. He just wants to land bullets on faces, and 2 kills come in for him. What a take again from Orbit. And that AWP may not end up doing anything into this round, although that being said, they have equalized that to us. It's a 3-on-3 now, bomb planted.
Yeah, and HP is pretty much equal right now, but Spy Leader getting the best of Kierbu. That's a backstab kill, making it 3-on-2. Now a lot of work to do for MSL and Tensky. Just going to be coming in, and Tensky going down with MSL now left with an AWP. Is he going to be able to do anything about it? He's going to be zooming in, but Bobble's going to take that one. I think it might be picking up the AWP as well. And now this is where economy is going to be broken for Dignitas, and Bulgarian guys from Orbit are pretty hyped in this situation.
Absolutely, they should be. They're playing phenomenal CS right now.
And it has to be pointed out, NKL, massive job there as the entry killer, or entry fragger rather, just going in as the execute happened, and he got the first 2 kills, basically opening out the bomb site. Caribou then, he tried to battle back into it, but becoming a 3-on-3 situation, Spy Leader flanking from drop, basically sealed the deal in the end.
They had the choice as well of picking up the AWP. They decided to go against it. They just want to stick with the AKs, the MAC-10. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they must realize that Dignitas, with the MAC-10 purchase especially, are on pistols. And having an AWP does give a little bit of glimmer of hope to maybe Dignitas breaking back. 2-5 was a heavy stack on A. Dignitas already pretty much conceding round 8.
Exactly, yeah. And it seems like Dignitas is making their way all the way to T-spawn. And what they're hoping for, and the best they can hope for, is trying to get some exit kills, but Spy Leader, well, he's definitely living up to his name in this cheeky position, and he's going to get that first one on the MSL, but little does he know, there's going to be a plenty more where that came from. He gets a second one, he gets a third one, that's a question. They're just going to be peekabooing him right now from that slope, but Spy Leader and Punisher, I think, are going to be just sealing the deal and making a clean sweep. None of the Orbit guys going down. That's clean anti-eco for them.
There's a part that looks really shady for Dignitas. Like, why are they peeking him? But they wanted the AK across. The thing is, though, that Spy Leader survived for so long, the rest of his team, Punisher, got into position and then just helped him out. So, clean up for Orbit. Round 9, Dignitas, they have to start winning.
This is where the pressure is going to start mounting. Dignitas sitting at only 2 rounds, and they are fully invested into this one. Orbit already has built quite a bit of back. Tensky trying to get a bit of a glimpse into middle. Victor ready for that, but no damage been dealt so far in this round. Things start off quite slowly.
Saw this a lot from Orbit in the previous matchup as well, just trying to check every single corner. Dignitas with a beautiful pop flash earlier in the game, opened up in Naden. Orbit very cognizant of that. Spy Leader gets a kill before being dropped, but a 1-for-1 trade should surely favor the terrorist, unless MSL has something to say about it. Kirby in mid as well. Just shut the door in Orbit's face. But Bubble's still alive, and when he's alive, nothing is for certain for Dignitas.
That is exactly true. He's just going to be going towards with the B platform and Punisher right now, and they're hoping for a free entry to this bomb site. Look at the passiveness of Dignitas so far. playing 2 towards connector. Now they're actually pop flashing smartly towards the side, and that's going to actually get Bubble. Punisher is going to try to chime in. He's going to have to make this happen. He gets the first one, but they'll probably know there's another one on this bomb side right now, and that's going to be Config, and he's going to get that kill, and it's a 1-on-3 right now.
Well on Bubble, Molotov and the bomb in hand. You're looking to push on through. Molotov behind the statue. Bubble looks for the spray, but it's just going to find Config, who finally gets Dignitas another round on the board. To
be honest, we just seemed a little bit sketchy there in the middle with Tensky and MSL trying to play aggressive, pop flashing. Tensky going through the smoke with the pop flash. He goes down right away. MSL luckily does get the trade kill, and he gets a teammate through connector to help him out. I think it was Kierbu, and that pretty much stopped the push from Orbit. But yeah, a little bit iffy here and there for Dignitas, but I guess what matters in the end of the day is that you win the round. And it's going to be 6-3 Orbit.
Dignitas, of course, starting on the CT side, have every opportunity to bounce back into this game. But NKL again with another entry frag opens up the deadlock for Orbit. That being said, kill comes back from Dignitas. They are getting the avenging kill. That's important. MSL gets caught with a flashbang out. That's going to cost him his life. Meanwhile, Victor, he's going to be pushing up. The rest of his team falls beside him. And now all on Punish is going to be the next on the chopping block. Config finally steps up. 3 kills for him. And Dignitas will get a 4th round. So this is much better. Now from Dig, starting to wake up, maybe.
Yeah, what I really just felt Orbit needed to do there, they got the entry, Dotensky taking over that side hole really fast. They got the entry kill. What you want to do is that, as it usually is, you only have 2 CTs playing that A side, right? So what you want to do off of that first kill, you want to just plow into that site, take it over right away. Instead, they saw MSL in the middle who got 1 frag. Doesn't matter. That you have the intel right now that A side is probably going to be empty. You're going to have a CT in transition right now through connector to that A bomb side. Instead, they wanted to take that battle to MSL, and that left Config enough time to just rotate all the way to A side, pretty much demolished all of that attack. So that's going to be the 2nd round in a row for Dignitas.
Can they keep this train going forward, though? Bomb dropped out. Very much salvageable from Orbit. Just looking to try and peek and probe their way into an entry frag. But Dignitas are holding fast here. And again, very B-centric defense. Just leaving, I think that's Tensky over on the other side.
Yeah,
in fact, no, it's Rubino.
I think it's Tensky.
Can't quite catch it. But meanwhile, it's going to be Kirby and MSL who both coming for kills. Victor back with 2, though, in drop zone. Now Config's on the side. He's been the player that's been stepping up these last couple of rounds. So certainly someone you want to be in this position. Already done serious damage to Bubble. Finishes him off. 2nd kill for Config. Beautiful individual performance. And now it falls to Victor, who got the 2 kills in drop zone. A team kill from Rubino. Onto Rubino, I should say, as Config takes him out. And he's low as well. So there could be another twist and turn left in this round. And now Victor's put him down. And a 2nd kill for Victor. A 4-man with a 2v1 clutch. In fact, it was a 3v1 clutch with a team kill.
He got a 4K victory in that round, didn't he?
What? Oh, Dig.
He killed, essentially, he had an ace because, Config just team killed Rubino. So that's, I guess you can see from their body language right now, they're not obviously happy about this, and they're going to be going directly into a 4th buy. Things look so good after Config getting those kills. Just crumbled in a matter of seconds. It was Victor managing to make it into 2 individual one-on-ones in the end. And now Dignitas in a bit of a pickle here.
See how much that round means. Not only is it 7-4 to Orbit, but Dignitas now on the brink of complete financial ruin, which would escalate Orbit quickly towards double digits again on their first half performance. And really a round Dig should never be losing. Config, though, going to try and bounce back with 2 kills. Very well done. CZ from Kirby finally comes in. And now Spy Leader and Punisher have it all to do. Make that just Punisher. He's only got a Tech 9 to his name. Going to be spinning around. First kill goes down, but Tensky with the headshot. And Dignitas, credit to them, they bounce back. They don't let it get inside their head too much.
Yeah, that was it. Orbit trying to do that B execute, but it didn't just seem like they once they had through the smokes and the flashes in, felt like the brute force of actually pushing the bomb site didn't really happen for them, and it was too many individual duels instead of getting the trades and getting that bomb site under control. And Dignitas taking full advantage of the situation, and now it's going to be the full-on opposite. Orbit force buying, surprise, surprise. Tech 9s, a CZ, and an AK-47. Very little utility as well. Meanwhile, Dignitas has a quite an okay buy.
Tensky's going to be disappointed he didn't get at least a kill for his troubles. Actually ends up flashing himself alongside Orbit. But he will be able to back away.
Get really hairy for the CTs of Dignitas if Orbit decides to just plow him, but instead they're actually deciding to just wait a little bit of what's going on, and that's going to initiate. Dignitas already rotated a third guy towards the A bomb side. Spy Leader, though, it's going to be the front man here. He's going to take a duel with MSL. It's going to get that. Question is Carey going to get the trade? He does, and here comes the push from Orbit.
Kirby, Rubino, Config trying to desperately hold on, stop the rot. Back and forth rounds, finds Orbit in a 7-5 lead. It could get a whole lot better. Victor with the AK, gonna make it work. Second kill for Victor. Hot off that clutch, and it's gonna be Bubble who puts the final nail in the coffin for that round. Dignitas will concede yet another one, and their economy again is gonna be struggling.
Orbit makes another force buy work in their favor, something we criticize them for, but at least today so far, it's been beneficial for them, having force buy. Get that one, and like I said, it could get really hairy for the CTs. End of the day, it did. And that was a full-on push from Orbit. They were towards that A bomb side. They just waited for the right moment. They tried to kills, became a 4-on-4, and they just plowed out of that side hall. End of the day, they were the ones coming on top with the duels, and now Dignitas also force bind into this as it looks right now. CZ's P250s and armor. Carby just running into the smoke, but little does he know, there's two of the Orbit players just waiting for him, and it's going to be a free one towards Orbit.
Yeah, really intelligent play from Orbit. Almost preemptively suggesting or guessing that this boost could be coming in after the smoke lands. They just back away to more passive positions, let Kirby effectively hang himself. And that opens up things nicely for Orbit. Now Dignitas will be on the prowl for some kills. MSL in danger, lives up to its name as he's the next to fall down. And Orbit, if they win this could be a 2-for-1 round because Dignitas going to have nothing to play with the next round as well.
The problem right now, isn't it? Rubino config, that's the last two remaining. Make that only config with a deagle and an armor, and probably the very famous Dream, but that's pretty much going to be over with Spy Leader coming in and getting that headshot.
Wow, that just happened. So Dig will have another 4 spies, it's going to be pistols, maybe a Mag 7 flash, something like that can be picked up as well, but it's not going to be a full buy by any stretch of the imagination, and Orbit are on the brink of a 10-5 lead. In actual fact, they go for a scout instead, so really mixing it up this time.
Yeah, that is interesting, obviously. I mean, if I was Dignitas, I would have probably just saved that one and have... Now, instead of having one proper buy, they're going to have 2 quality ones, but Tensky going to get the damage dealt to Spy Leader. Meanwhile, though, pretty much everyone else from Orbit are heading towards the B-bomb side. They've already gone down the drop zone right now. They've got the kills, 4-4. Oh, here comes the push for the CTs. Config's in there. They're both just running around this smoke right now, but no kills being traded there.
Went on a roundabout through the smoke and somehow... How is Config still alive to land that shot? I don't even understand what's happening. Bubble now to 1v2, down to 26 health. This is going to be a rough ask, especially as Tensky has the AK and Kevlar. CZ for MSL. And down goes Bubble. So a round you never thought Dignitas would have a chance in, they do pick up.
Yeah, it's just sloppy play from Orbit, to be honest with you. When you're in a situation, you know your opponent is force buying, slow things down, let them do the initiative. Let the CTs that have CZs and 5s and whatnot just do the initiative. Instead, they ran into this blender of smokes and whatnot and just became this close range battles, which is obviously going to be where Dignitas had their chances with the pistols. So a little bit of sloppy play from Orbit there. That should have been a 10-5 half for them.
Yeah, you take away the strengths of your own weapons, which is long range, it's the mid to long range, and you put it into the advantages of the up close and personal pistol. So yeah, Orbit's certainly struggling with that, especially considering that they got the first kill onto Kirby as well, who went for that boost. So you thought it would just be a matter of time, but 9-6 the halftime scoreline. Still Orbit are in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rather standard scoreline on this map. If you look at the statistics, it's probably about the 60-40 towards the terror sign in the rounds here on this map. Now, what does Dignitas have to answer? They have 2 smokes. They have 2 flashes as well, and Rubino with a Tech 9 as well. It seems like he's not going to be dropping it to anyone, so there's no raid boss for them. And by the looks of things, they're probably going to be executing towards the B bomb side. That makes the most sense. Smoking off the little hole towards plan and just plowing. Flash is coming in. Spy Leader, though, he's going to be getting the first kill. And oh, there's going to be another one maybe in the works.
Rubino dropped very low. Actually decides to go for the green light onto the site. Ends up with him dead. And Kale, in the meanwhile, is landing the shot. It's a 2-1-3, but both of Dignitas are fairly low. Make it just the one. It's all intense. He gets picked off from behind, and the second pistol round goes the way of the Bulgarians 10-6 up. And now the pressure is mounting for Dignitas.
Thought for a second there you said that Rubino was going towards the white light. Wasn't sure what that was supposed to mean, but like you said, Orbit's going to pick up that Vissel round. It's going to be the second one they win in this one. So definitely favoring Orbit. And that's going to be 10-6 scoreline, and another forced buy for Dignitas coming in. Technize and Armors, they have a 1 single smoke and 3 flashes, so they are really just going to be focusing on the brute force of their weaponry and hoping for close range battles with the Tech-9s.
Absolutely. But Orbit, if they're going to play this smart, they will just play passively as they are right now. Let the FAMAS rain out from long range. NKL decides to go close. Does a lot of damage, but actually doesn't get rewarded with the frag, and it's looking good for Dignitas. They're all over the board right now, over on the B side. Both of Orbit are stacking together, and this could very well prove to be at the cost of the round. And there goes Victor. He's the next to fall. Tensky with a key kill and a key round, to be fair, as well for Dignitas. Just breaking the weapons away from the CTs.
Yeah, indeed. And I think they were sort of in the no man's land in terms of either playing aggressive or really defensive. What I want to see is you playing against the Tech-9s, you will probably have more utility, which enables you to sort of retake the site better, even though the Tech-9s, they want to have more close-range battles, and that's exactly what they had. So what I want to see the CTs do is play more passively, more towards the connector area, and when they actually push in, you pop flash, you flash towards everyone on the site, and just plow in, take the battles afterwards. Now instead it was Dignitas getting the best of it, but now another force buy coming in from Orbit, obviously. Why not, of course, and MSL picking up the first kill.
But these are the kind of rounds when the force buy starts coming for Orbit that can completely hamstring their economy and indeed their chances of taking the map. Victor lands the shot, bombs dropped, and it is in a pretty solid position as far as the CTs are concerned. Now they have the AK-47, and with the force buy, Victor has the Kevlar.
They don't deserve these kind of rounds, to be honest with you. They didn't have any game plan. They just plowed in aggressively, and they made it somehow into a 3-on-3. And 10 skills are very low. Rubino managed to get the kill on the Victor. That could prove very important, but the fact right now is Rubino and Tensky both super low on HP, but Slider, the wrong time in the wrong place. And that's going to be Tensky getting the kill. NKL left in a 1-on-3.
He's very good when he's playing aggressively, but when he has to hold the position, NKL does struggle a tiny bit. He is that kind of twitchy player. That's why he's been getting so many entry frags today so far. But with the P250, Tensky and Rubino, as you highlighted before, are 1 bullet away from death. Kirby, fantastic player, but NKL has been performing solidly all day. There's the first kill. It's going to be the AK-47 as well. And NKL does have himself Kevlar. So the plot thickens. 20 seconds left. NKL's going to be coming up through the smoke. Lands the shot onto Kirby. And now the clutch goes from being a possibility to almost a guarantee. Rubino's going to have to just whip around and land the craziest one-tap, or NKL surely takes this down. That smoke's pretty smart, though, from Dignitas' viewpoint, because NKL now just can't afford to charge in. He has to play this one slowly and steadily. He doesn't have a kit, but there's more than enough time to get this done. Molotov comes out, and based from the trajectory, knows exactly where Rubino is, and gets the clutch as well. NKL with another masterful performance, and Dignitas will be just face-palming.
Just a disgusting force buy win from Orbit that just makes me almost vomit. It's like they had no game plan whatsoever. All they had was really aggressive positioning, and they managed to have those close quarter battles, which they got 2 really important kills to trade into a 3-on-3. And then, you know, that at that point it becomes a little bit dicey. And then obviously the 1-on-3 in the end, 2 of the T's being super low. It was all, I think it was in the realm of possibilities. NKL was going to win, especially getting that kill in the Caribou. That's when it became almost impossible for Dignitas, and that's going to be back and forth. Force buys going first to Dignitas and then to Orbit, and well, it's going to be another one coming in works maybe. The possibility of another back-to-back-to-back force buy win.
This economic war of attrition continues, and Orbit, typically the team that comes out ahead in these confrontations. Dignitas with 2 AKs, 1 in the hands of Kirby, 1 in config. The 2 players you'd want with AK-47s in this situation, but Victor's position's pretty solid here. Should be good for at least 1 kill.
In terms of economy, also this round is very huge considering the scoreline and the economy situation. Things are starting slow here. Things are building up a potential A push. That's where the bomb is right now anyway, towards that site. You only have Rubino working the drop, but he's also going to be rotating to middle, so it's going to be a full-on out A push coming in. Caribou with the first kill.
Thought it'd be good for a kill, but that flashbang completely wrecked Victor, forced him to turn his back. And in doing so, Dignitas now have the gateway opened to the A side. Orbit instantly tap out for the reasons you called before, Natu. Their economy's in no position to try and retake. If they lose any more weapons, it would be a complete collapse. So saving 3 weapons is pretty big. But Dignitas, fair play to them. They are going to get themselves an 8th round.
Back-to-back force buys happening here. Dignitas is going to pick that one up. Orbit, 3 players remaining. They're going to be trying to save it to obviously force buy into the upcoming round as well, round number 20. Spy Leader is going to be confronting some T's here. It's not going to be Barry. Might be MSL getting that one, but now he knows the situation. Always going to get sandwiched here. Potentially Rubino also getting a kill. Now only in NKL left. Now in this situation, I do hope Orbit is smart enough. They are 11-8 up. Everything's going their way. They're on the CT side. This is where you save.
I want to see the trigger if they force. I want to see that trigger, Natu. This surely is an eco though, right? Like any other team, I feel just tap out.
I'm out. I'm just done with this. Seriously. Are you kidding me? Like, seriously? Like, is this the point where you need to force buy? Really? You're 11-8 up. You're just basically risking it all by force buying into this. Now, let's see them win this also. NKL with the max 7. Spy Leader getting the first one, though. But that's going to be just trades coming in. Rubino and Caribou getting kills for their name. And in the end, it's going to be Victory Bubble after 19 and 16 HP as well. But it becomes a 2-on-2 somehow.
This is going to go to a whole new level of trigger. It's going to be a nuclear trigger if they win from this. Natu will just walk out live. He's done. Surely Bubble can't get this done as well, though. His HP is so low. 19. Flashbang, AK, Kevlar. He has a fair bit to play with, and he could get the timing onto Dignitas, who are looking to flash from Kirby, but they do put down the force buy. To Natu's pleasure, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm happy they lost that. They really deserved it. That's that situation where just maybe invest slightly, but make sure you have some bank. If you have a double save, that's fine too. Just look at 11-8 scoreline. It's going to be at top 11-10, and then you'll have full everything. Right now, they force bought into this, and you know they actually would have to double save here to have exactly everything they would want to. Obviously, they're not just going to be saving 1 here, and here comes a B push from Dignitas.
NKL totally blind. Snowstorm descends on him, couldn't see a single thing. Rubino's Mac 10 will open things up nicely, and Dignitas will take that site. No problems whatsoever. I guess the thing though from Orbit is because they've shown a complete lack of interest picking up orbs, it means that their buys will be cheaper. Maybe this will factor into some of their decision making, but saving this AK is pretty big as well. Orbit can just scurry away with it. This gives them a healthier buy when they decide to pull the trigger on that. Victor in the meanwhile, lands the P250 shot. If he can get the second one, he should be able to salvage another weapon for his team, but the cavalry is charging in for Dignitas. And the P250 can't deal with the AKs. Dignitas will be hitting double digits themselves, moving to 10-11 behind.
Bubbles found a nice little comfortable space for himself that he can call home right now. And I don't think that's Config was expecting that at all. Oh, but there's going to be a flying Rubino coming in, going down though by Bubble. Just Caribou left, and Bubble with 30 HP. I think he's going to just hope that those walls are going to be thick enough to keep the bullets out. And they are. And it's going to be Bubble surviving, and definitely they're going to be buying into this with that AK-47 being saved. We know that they don't really care how much money they have. They'll still just go full out on it. And they'll have a FAMAS and AK-47, but still a little bit of lack of utility to be noticeable here. NKL and Bubble, the only ones with the defuse kits as well.
Yeah, the bulk of their grenades are flashbangs, which are being thrown out thick and fast already. That's a lot of utility expended already from Orbit, and such time is remaining in round 22.
That's the problem, right? When you're low on utility, and the B push is the danger of a potential fast B play is always there, so you kind of have to spend a lot of utility towards that B long. But that is exactly where Dignitas is not going. Instead, they're taking over that A long again. Victor's going to be the one on the hot seat right now, not being able to land one. Oh, definitely does get one in the end, but the situation favors Dignitas in the end as it becomes a 3-on-3.
Don't know how Victor even got 1 kill out of that scrape. That's pretty ridiculous stuff. Dignitas, 3 AKs, have a massive advantage in terms of grenades still in their back pocket. 50 seconds left. Here comes the push towards the B side. Typically, You see Dignitas maybe drop someone out of the drop zone, which is where Spy Leader is watching the other players going to long. Let's see if they decide for more of a stack play. That's going to be the case. Zatensky's going to join the rest of his team coming up long now. They have the grenades to play with. 33 seconds. Spy Leader is going to be looking to push on through. Here comes the spray. Now it's going to be Rubino who gets the upper hand, and in doing so, the bomb should now be traversing across to the B site. And will be getting planted momentarily. Punisher has been smoked out completely. This is going to isolate him from his teammate, which is NKL, who will bite the dust courtesy of Tensky. And the round, in that moment, goes the way of Dignitas. So we are going to be all even.
Yeah, like I said prior to this match, Dignitas has way better B executes than what SK was able to throw at Orbit. And so Orbit CT side definitely going to be tested on that site. It's going to be another one going to win Dignitas. They're going to be equalizing the scoreline. Punisher, the best thing you can hope for is starting to get an extra kill. He might get that chance on the config, but decides to shoot that little corner of the wall and get killed by config instead. Just a little update, by the way. SK versus Epsilon going on right now, and on overpass, and Epsilon is up 12-7.
SK's woes continue.
Yep.
Goes to show you can't really base a team off one performance at LAN. Has to be consistency.
Exactly. It is one thing to climb up the mountain. It's a whole different story to actually stay up there.
Good point. Dignitas are looking to maybe stabilize somewhat up that mountain. Only about halfway up there right now. Orbit will be forcing up. Have an AWP. That's very interesting. So they finally decide to go for an AWP in this kind of situation. And Victor nearly bags himself a couple. Here comes Bubble around the corner with his AWP. Makes it work, flashes his way out as well. So this is a pretty good turn of events for Orbit.
Yep. Desperate times call for desperate measures. That's why the AWP came out probably, since they are pretty much pistols for everyone else for Bubble, except for Bubble. And the 4-3 situation does favor Orbit definitely right now. And what's the thing doing the toss? It's just going to be falling back towards the B bomb side, which is right now occupied by 2 of the CTs. And look at this. You have, I think Punisher is pushing. No, Spy Leader is pushing here from behind, so they have all the intel right now. It's going to be a B push, definitely. But the interesting part is there's actually 2 of the CTs that are pushing from behind.
If Dignitas don't get a move on here, they are going to get caught in transition. That's exactly what happened. Spy Leader on Tensky. They realize he's really close now. They have to turn their attention back to B plat as well. It looks like we could see a rotation through B towards A as a result of Orbit wrapping themselves round Dignitas. A very quick call and a smart one at that. So they will get the bomb planted, but now they will have to face off against a 3v2 retake.
Yeah, well, they have an AK-47, they have an AWP. A little bit of utility, but no kits for the CTs. And here comes the push already. Rubino, though, is going to get the one on the NKL before Bubble chimes in and gets a kill with that AWP. Making it into a 1-on-2 now, which is config left, and he's going to get one. Oh, he's not going to get one of those Spy Leader. It seemed evident that he's going to get that kill, but it's in the end Orbit that comes out on top of that trade.
But I say it's a bit unfortunate. It looked like it was a kill to me, but you could see he also thought, because he was, as soon as he thought he had the kill, he switched across to the player on headshot, and
that's why I thought it was a kill.
Exactly. So 12-11, Dignitas have ended up in a sticky situation.
Well, we got something right. It's going to be a close one. In our predictions, we thought it was going to be Dignitas, but I thought it was going to be super close between the two. It's very back and forth, and that's what's going to make it super hard on the CT side, especially the economy. Always going to be pressured on this one. They have an open play right now with Bubble, similar to the previous round, so he picked that one up, even though he changed to an AK in that afterplan situation. He went back and took the AWP.
I've got to say as well, that last round was massive for Orbit, because if they lose that, they just force sport up. So you'd be looking at maybe a 13-11, 14-11 scoreline. So again, by the skin of their teeth, they keep in this game. That flash just destroys Dignitas, who are looking to push out onto the side. Bomb's been dropped as well. And Orbit looking good to take another round. Kirby, one of the star players, headshot connects, but he loses half his health as a result. And in a 4v1, needs to go cleaner than that. Faces Bubble, Victor, and Punisher, who's already picked himself up 3 kills in this round, by the way. Ooh, it's a tasty headshot.
Yeah.
Spicy. Kirby, 55 seconds left. Bomb dropped on the site. How is he going to use this time? Smoke lands in connecting door. And he gets caught from Punisher, who is still looking up to B plat, maybe thinking there's a double stack there. it's always a rough situation when you find yourself in a 1v4 with no information. You just have to pretty much roll the dice.
Yeah, great synergy there from NKL and Punisher on that B bomb side. Just stopping that pushing the Strax. Dignitas not able to apply that brute force they wanted to once they were actually trying to commit on that site after the smokes came in. And that's going to be Orbit now in a 13-11 lead, and Dignitas is fully 100% invested onto this one. Orbit obviously also losing 3 players means that their economy is not super pretty. So this round could be worth a couple here, to be fair.
Absolutely, this could be a 2-for-1. Especially when you get in towards the 25th round. This is where every single play is so important. I mean, you called before we could be seeing the full 30 rounds. It seems to be shaping up. If Dignitas can win this round, it could very well go that way. If Orbit win, however, they could end up finishing this off fairly quickly. And Dig will know this themselves. Slow aggression once again.
You know, with the one-man fake towards the B bomb side, and that's going to work out great. He gets the headshot on the Punisher. Now, I don't think he's going to realize there's one underneath him, and then KL gets the kill before Caribou hits on this A side. And it's just going to be one CT. He's up on the Princess balcony, and he's going to get isolated off with that smoke before Bobble just going to run in with the flash and gets 2 kills as well. Oh, not the third one, a spy leader, but Tensky with 2 of his own. He comes in 1-on-1 all of a sudden, and 32 and 23 HP in the name of these players. Means it's going to be just a matter of a couple of bullets that makes a difference in this. Well, there's going to be Tensky in the end. He's going to get that one in that 1-on-1. And what a back and forth affair we have here, Vince.
That round pretty much just sums up this match in a nutshell. You think that one team has it, and then out comes Bubble, double spray. The reason for my reaction is I thought he landed the 3rd kill as well, but it's actually Spy Leader who got that. I was about to go nuts. It was through smoke.
Exactly. That was an interesting one for sure.
Said how important that round was, and Dignitas come out ahead, and now Orbit find themselves
in a force buy. Well, yeah, they can work that. They can make that work. I think we'll see this story a few times. I have something tells me I've seen this movie before.
Just a few thousand times, yep. But unfortunately, we forgot how it ended. Maybe Orbit can fill in the blanks.
Maybe this is the sequel.
It very well could be. Up until this point, it seems to have just been a carbon copy of the first movie, but Dignitas with a UMP 4 AK-47s against the pistol upgrades from Orbit. And this is why I said we could be seeing the full 30, because Orbit, they lose this round, they're into a very, very dicey situation.
Dignitas has a nice little rhythm the way they take over middle area. They smoke off the entrance towards the A ramp, and then just ball flash themselves to danger, to down middle, and make sure there's no aggression, which is very possible, especially against the force buying Orbit right now. Meanwhile, though, MSL Rubino working their way towards the P bomb side. Rubino all the way down to 30 HP already. So no HP loss from the CT so far.
Yeah, big nade. Perfect timing for Orbit. 35 seconds left, though, so Dignitas now going to feel every second ticking down. They have to start to get a move on, and there's the first kill. Punisher lands a 1-dig. Rubino will be going down. Momentarily silenced. 23 seconds now. Dignitas have to force in. They have to get these entries. Fortunately for them, there's only one defender on the site. He's been picked off from config, which will be Bubble. Oh, and it's just a case of dropping like flies now for Dignitas. 10 seconds, they're going to get on the site. NKL has something to say about that, though. And now here comes the deagle from Punisher once more. In the same position he landed his first one tap of the round. He goes down, and Dignitas have a broken Orbit, who went for a force in that previous round. 13 all.
Yep, this is the moment where they need to save 100%. It's 12-11 scoreline. Oh, 13-11, was it?
13-11, yeah.
13-11, yep. So they're going to be put it, no, 13-13, obviously. Wow, my brain is
It was 13-11, now it's 13-all.
I think it's because I was looking at the SK versus Epsilon scoreline, so that's where the 11 came from. It's 12-11 right now, by the way. SK is charming back into that one. 13-13, and a save run from Orbit, so Dignitas is going to be, well, they're going to be playing towards that match point quite quickly, unless something really awkward happens. As we can see right now, heavy stack on that B-bomb side, and that's where Dignitas is actually not going through, except for Rubino. He's going to be the one just trying to scout things out. Meanwhile, his teammates are just waiting all the way back in middle of what's going on. In fact, it's Rubino and MSL towards that B-bomb site.
Yeah, two-man death squad, meaning if they push out, even if one of them falls, they will get so much information. As soon as that B stack is called, you assume they'll instantly go back to A, but actually, the trap could be very, very real, and the headshot has landed on Rubino. In fact, 2 headshots. MSL's also been dinked. They're both incredibly low. Oh my goodness, Orbit could be able to pull this one off. The kills are coming down. Finally, Dignitas decide to pull the trigger and get 2 kills of their own. Config with a 3rd as well. He falls down next to the USP of Spy Leader, which brings us to Victor. It's a 1v1. As he picks off the kill, and Kirby stands tall for his team, but how did it even get that close?
Yeah, that blows my mind. MSL and Rubino going down in HP so quickly. And that was actually a cue for Dignitas just pushing to the B bomb side. A little did they know, that was pretty much a full sack from the CTs on that bomb side. All the way down to a 1-on-1, but it has to be said, it was Config and his bravery that brought Dignitas back into that round as he was just pushing in. He got the 2 kills, even though he went down. He dealt the damage, and that was enough, and Dignitas in the end, 14-13.
I think we're going to have a pause.
Yep, something...
Assume some technical issues.
Possibly. Seems like there might be, but yeah, what a round that was. Really going back and forth. Tensky in the end. That one in a 1-on-1, obviously, against an armorless CT. Should be favored in that spray duel, and he was. And but yeah, too close for comfort.
And the thing is as well, with those kills that they picked up in the previous round, that's going to go towards their armory in this one. So it affords them a few more grenades than Orbit would have had ordinarily. I think we've had one of Dignitas' players drop out of the server.
Let's see, interesting to see what the economy is like for Orbit right now. I wonder if we can actually get to see that briefly, so we can make a judgment on what's going on. I think it's one of each that actually is dropped out, if I can see correctly from the monitors right now.
13-12 to SK in the other matchup right now.
Yes, they have brought it back.
So it's 12-7, I think you said.
Yes, and there was a 4-round winning streak for SK at one point, for Epsilon at one point, but then it's been SK coming back into it with 6 of their own. But it seems right now it's actually going to be a Epsilon coming back into it, then equalizing the scoreline. It's a 2-on-1 situation right now with Disco, Doppler, and Rez versus Madi.
Just goes to show that that was a match that I think a lot of people expected SK to walk all over. It's been anything but that. And very much the same can be said of this matchup. Bubble hasn't quite been on the same form that saw him wreck SK, but he's on 23 for 18, so he's still doing a solid job for his team. However, they trail by 1 round, and Dignitas are up against an Orbit, who in fairness don't have a great deal of grenades. They've got no incendiaries whatsoever, and that grenade has done a lot of damage. The headshot from Config also connects, and Orbit will be conceding the first kill.
Yeah, that's a big one, obviously, in a 4-on-5 situation on the CT side. That means you have to make some kind of a gamble, and the gamble right now is they're going to be leaving 3 towards that B bomb site and just leaving Victor towards that A bomb site. And he's actually playing quite passively as well, so he's not going to be able to get any early information, meaning that there's a lot of pressure on the Victor trying to at least get 2 kills before going down. If it becomes a 2-on-4 retake, then it's pretty much over with quite quickly, to be honest with you. So, but it seems like Dignitas right now is pushing this A side, and well, Orbit decides to really focus on the side, and Victor gets the first one, goes on to Tensky before Config also getting one.
Oh, the kills just coming in thick and fast for Dignitas. There's a couple of positions there from Orbit where he thought they can make this work, but just as we panned across to them, their faces got caved in. It's now all on Bubble. Config is low. 3 more players to find and kill in this 1v4. This would be a blistering round from Bubble if he was able to pick this one off, but I think realizing that Dignitas are in too good a position, he was going to back away before Tensky put the final nail in the coffin for him, and now they have 2 match points at 15-13 ahead.
Yes, and the money for Orbit definitely not looking pretty, so they're going to be having to buy what they can, but more often than not, they seem to be able to make that work. So you don't want to count them out in a situation with 3 FAMASs and 2 CZs in their hands. But Dignitas showing some mental fortitude. Even though they've gone through some rough patches in this match, they've ended up being in 15-13 lead. Spy Leader once again going to have aggressiveness with Config coming in. It gets the first one and the second one, but then KL is going to be there and he's going to get one of his own. But still a 4-3 situation favoring Dignitas in all possible ways.
Good news for Orbit, though, is the 2 players that died were the pistol-wielding players. They still have all 3 of their FAMASs intact. One of them has just been picked off, though. Tensky with the headshot. Dignitas looking good to salvage this map and go forward. And it looks sketchy at times, but Let's not write off Bubble and Punisher just yet. The odds are stacked against them. Looking for the fast rotation round the back is Bubble. An actual fact, if Dignitas decide to come back to the B side, that could play into his hands, but he's been spotted, and he will end up being picked off as a result. All on Punisher, who thinks this is a B aggression, but it's not. Dignitas will be pushing onto A. Punisher has second thoughts. He's going to be looking to the A site, and he's going to get the first kill. This would be massive. Can look for that pop flash as well. Comes back out, but Kirby is there. 16-13 is the final scoreline, and Dignitas, although it's laboured, although they did find themselves behind for large chunks of the map. Remember, it was a 9-6 end to the first half. They do bounce back and take it.
I think this kind of a victory is really important for Dignitas, a team that's really struggled with their psychological side, their mental fortitude, has never been one of their strengths. So being able to come back in this kind of a situation is super good for them going further, because it's always a tournament is like a bit of a building process for a team. So you want to have this early kind of struggles. You're playing against a team that, well, obviously you expected it to be quite close, and then them being in a deficit and then coming back and winning it in the end is just going to be huge for them going further. What's up, Bala?
I'm good. Did you enjoy that match?
I did, yeah.
It ended up being very, very close. It was kind of an up and down match because, like you just pointed out, it was a 6-9 start in Orbit's favour, and then they kind of got back into it, and then Orbit went ahead, but then the game was closed out by Dignitas, and they looked relatively okay. What do you guys think about how Dignitas did?
As Natu said very correctly, one of the biggest issues for Dignitas is they're almost their own worst enemies in a lot of sense. They get in their own head, they push the self-destruct button. To come back from a deficit like that, and especially a lot of grindy rounds, and also some force buys that ended up paying off for Orbit that would tilt a lot of teams, to win that game is actually massive for Dignitas, and I think that's going to do them all the good to their confidence.
Would you agree with that, Natu?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And especially early parts, again, we saw Orbit doing their just weird force buys, and NKL winning that 1-3 kind of shifted momentum. It seemed like Dignitas might be running away with it, but that 1-3 with NKL winning it, obviously two players being low and whatnot, but still, that's what really shifted the situation going towards Orbit. And then, well, Dignitas coming back into it, I mean, just, yeah, cool story.
Yeah, well, before we go into more details between us, I've got my good friend Ruben here. Rubino, how are you doing?
I'm good, I'm good.
Yeah? How did that go for you from your perspective?
Well...
If you move slightly over here,
perfect. We started a bit like we lost the gun round, won the first weapon round, I think, and then we lost the round. So it was like back and forth. We got 6 rounds of CT. Like, I don't know.
Did you think you'd have a better CT half?
Like, our CT side is really unstable, I would say. Sometimes we play really well as the CT, and sometimes we don't. It really depends on, like, if we win the first gun round and then lose, we get, like, eco'd and such. So I think 6 rounds as it was okay, I think.
Can I do, before you ask your question, Arthur, I've just had in my ear, SK and Epsilon is 14-14.
I know,
really?
Yeah. It's 14-14
Oh, okay.
right now. It's, so yeah, well, what I was going to ask, how does it, like, playing against Orbit, who are just famous for force buying after force buying, how does it, like, how do you prepare for, like, what is your thought process playing against them?
Well, like, we play them in Cobblestone games, actually. Then we lost. We know how, like, they love to force. But, like, we don't...
Gets me triggered,
we never know when they're going to eco or, like, force buy. The one round we won, like, they had forced, and then we thought, okay, they are eco, and Bubble has an op. Like, I didn't understand anything. So it's really hard to play against, but I think it can win them matches, but it also can lose the matches like this game. They lost it because of the instant, always forcing.
How do you prepare for a team like that, who is quite unpredictable?
Just play our own game, to be honest.
Keep it simple, stupid.
We expected SK to win the first match, so we didn't know so much about Orbit, to be honest. But we just play our game, just focus on our play style, try to execute like with all 5 and just play as a team, and it worked.
Yeah, and so it works in this scenario, in this instance, but overall, how would you say you guys are doing as a team? Because obviously, there have been some ups and downs recently, like you didn't manage to get to MLG, and so now this is the next major you're trying to get to, and you know, there's some attention being drawn around that sort of thing.
Well, we're trying to do different stuffs where, like we always talk as a team. For example, when we lost in Civo, we just talk as a team, try to figure out what is wrong, what do we need to improve, and such. So we are trying and trying, but it's really hard to know like what is happening. Maybe we're not playing 100% right now, but we're trying, and it feels a lot better now than it did on Civo at least.
Yeah, and go on.
Yeah, have you guys noticed what is it exactly that really seems to be hindering you guys when it comes to situations where you are expected to win, because you always do good when you're underdogs, but then when you're expected to win, it seems like something clicks and then just things don't go right. So have you guys been able to identify what the issues may be?
Well, as you say, like when in Cobblestone games, everyone expected us to win, and we failed. Several people expected us to come like second or first. Still, like we lost in group stages. So it may be the problem, but I also think like when you're so like we have a lot of tactics. We are tactic-heavily team. I think we got to renew thing all the time, and it's really hard right now since it's so many events. It's officials all the time. So I think like a combination of the pressure when you are favorite and tactical things is the main problem.
Okay. Is it important coming into this tournament bouncing back from Civo?
Of course, like we want to give 100% here. We are focused. We try to do whatever it takes to qualify or get to major qualification. I haven't been on a major since Katowice 2015, so for me at least it's really important to get to the major, and I think all my teammates want that too, since we didn't qualify on MLG. So we're just giving 100% and hopefully that's enough.
Why don't we take a look at the stats from this match? I also got an update in my ear, which I didn't exactly catch with regards to the Epsilon game, so I'll update you on the score with that when I hear it again. But why don't we look at these stats, run us through them, Natu?
I think we would have heard if Epsilon won, because they were pretty loud when they were winning rounds. But I guess the pinpoints we can take from here is Caribou and Config obviously being the two heavy lifters for you guys there. Rubino, since you're still here, what's your thoughts on those two guys?
Well, they're like the two main carries in the team. They play really well. Caribou has like been a monster since we made this new roster. When he got the new roles, he got more comfortable, and it seems like the online reputation has gotten like it's not there anymore. He's playing all the time really good. Config is also a really good player. Maybe some like unstable sometimes, but he's really good. Like if he has 13 frags, he always have some impact frags like killing 2 guys and we win the round. So I think like the stats sometimes lies.
They do.
Of course, but
Not your best game ever.
no, not my best game. But for me, it's not the.
But he's not supposed to be the guy to be
No,
higher.
I'm teasing anyway.
If Caribou and Config plays good, it's fine for me.
It's the
Sable
really soldier.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we were saying about you. You were the player that we highlighted on very big screen just
something
then.
tells me
It's probably the end of the
Okay, yeah, well, we'll get that score very... Epsilon 1. It's confirmed that Epsilon 1.
SK are out already.
Yeah, SK are out. Oh, that is... Oh, God. We're going to see an angry pimp and Co walk by.
Rubino, you said that you
shortly.
thought SK would win the other game as well, right? The first game, because we all predicted SK, and then they got completely wrecked. I don't know if you know what the scoreline was, but Orbit wrecked them on Cobblestone.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be close.
I thought that SK were going to win since they played really well on Savo. They actually like beat us 60-2 or something on Cobblestone the last time. They did everything right. They were playing really good individually, and everything worked for them. I didn't know how strong they would come here, since I felt maybe they played good individually on the Savo land. I feel like they're maybe like us, but maybe more unstable than us again. So sometimes they play good, sometimes they can't.
And obviously, having here with the stand-in phrases now, Arcadians here, that's always going to change the dynamic. We thought that you'll have a player that's capable of opping being switched from freeze, so it should be all right. But well, obviously, it didn't work out too great for SK.
Yeah, we're going to look at the bracket now and see exactly where everything stands. So, of course, Orbit to count SK straight away, and then at Dignitas, you guys beat Epsilon, and that meant that we saw you guys play off against Orbit, which you've now won. And the losers match that we didn't see just now, Epsilon did end up winning 16-14, going right to the wire, and the decider match later today will be Orbit versus Epsilon. This so far has been quite unpredictable. Natu, please.
Yeah, I mean, we came to this. We talked about it in the pre-show that this is like the level of teams here is quite similar between them. So head-to-head really is, it can be a bit of a coin flip of what's going on. So it's going to be super hard to make any predictions so far. Group A hasn't disappointed in that way. I mean, Dignitas, obviously, they did their job correctly, and they're the ones that were not a surprise package. Instead, they did what they were supposed to. And then we see SK going back already home in this situation, like Rubino was talking, right after Sivo coming from that high, and then just totally abomination here at the minor at the biggest moment, because everyone wants to get in that major, obviously, or the qualification for major at least. It's the wrong time and the wrong place for them to be playing as poorly. But kudos to Epsilon, obviously. They're here to hang, they're here to play. And they're going to be now facing Orbit in the decider match.
Metas, any final thoughts before we head to a break and such?
I think for the final game of, the winners decider match, I would probably go with Orbit. I think Orbit will be the favorites to take that game. Rabin, I'm curious on your thoughts as well. Would you go with Orbit to win that?
Yeah, I think like they are the heavy favorites here, of course. But it depends on maps. I think Epsilon, like, they have some good players. They play a bit aggressive, like random, like a bit like Fnatic did for a long time since. Like the Draken guy, he reminds me a lot of JW actually. Like likes to take aggressive peeks with AWP and such. So they can surprise, but I think Orbit should take it if they play like normal. But maybe they're down after the loss. Who knows? Like everything, yeah, it's really hard to say.
All right, well, we will be moving into that match very, very shortly. We're going to head to a break, and we will be back in about 10 minutes. Rubino, thank you very much for your time. Great talking, as always. Thank you guys as well, and we will be back shortly.